This is called $50. Cats. We had this talk. That's not part of the tax.
I wish it was.
Can you write a song called
Cats,
that?
we had this talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
I found $50 in a dresser drawer and spent the time I would have spent just staring at the floor, staring down at JFK, trying to imagine the immoral sort of irony that makes a nation feign commemoration of a man that it had murdered by the CIA, trying to envision us if we possessed the healthcare he had talked about in '58. I guess the takeaway is it's a piece of fucking cake to celebrate somebody's bravery once you've assured they're safely in the grave. And I bet if Pat Tillman were alive today that he would say the same. And I'm sure we're in for more if they let Julian decay. I bet that they would put him on a quarter. I bet that they would name a conference room in his honor at the IMF, the New York Times, the FBI, and Citibank. I guess the takeaway is it's a no-risk softball pitch to uplift somebody's image once their image is the one thing that remains. And the worst is when it's coming from a figurehead who's funding every agency that authored the remains and working with the agency that doctored the remains, the agency that obfuscates the facts and spins a constant storm of shifting blame. I guess the takeaway is that America will sing your praises loud as day to celebrate the fact you and the threat you posed have passed away. Shit, they'll throw you a parade. And business just as usual will live another day. And all of the insurance gods will bathe in all the praise and make donations rain. And all their winged, wicked little lobbyists will blow their horns and light the flames. The ceremony starts, and they in single column march up to the weathered onyx arch and sand the marker down that bears your name. So you no longer are and never were until your hideous rebirth within the corporate frame. Until you're back from the dead and then bound for all eternity in propaganda's chains. It's the very ritual that whittled down the legacy of Martin Luther King into a parable on unity for liberals to claim. And once they learned it worked, the world would never be the same. And now it's getting worse. I guess they're dialing in their aim. History is a straight line, but so's a moving train, which is heavily dependent on our infrastructure grade. We are building back better in a nation built on slaves, so you can guess the ultimate direction that our pathway to the future paves. They don't want you living, or they'd offer you a living wage. They don't want you feeding any homeless. It's just best to leave them freezing in the alleyway. They don't want you speaking words of hope unto the hopeless, or they'll do you up like JFK. Found $50 in my dresser, and I spent the rest of my whole day depressed because this constant drop in pressure means that you can catch the bends from simply sitting up in bed awake. It looks like 2022 is really not the year for you to have your lives improved. I guess you'll have to wait. But not to fret. Election season's just around the bend. Why don't you go ahead and save the date? So you can throw yourself before the magistrate and beg to have your family saved. You don't know the people you elect to lead you more than what their ad portrays. You can't tell their offerings of saccharin and arsenic from ordinary aspartame. And you can't really comprehend the kind of greed this country feeds upon until you're Jackie O wearing close to half a brain. And probably the half that would have seen us passing A4A. All to keep the pieces in their places in the never-ending profit game. All to weave a tapestry of ampersands. Each allows a claim adjuster room to just dismiss you with a callous hand like fuck you and your meds. Fuck you for requesting a procedure that you need so you can stand. Fuck you and your family and your poor demands. So welcome to the land where we'll assassinate a man and then put him on a $50 stadium or stamp and proclaim ourselves the greatest country ever master planned, killing off its citizens, enriching all its brands.